They laughed at it. They pointed. They joked. German pilots looked at the new American fighter, a 7-ton overweight brute, and mocked it as a flying milk bottle, too big, too slow, too heavy, too ridiculous to survive in real combat. But the skies over Europe were about to change forever, because the airplane they laughed at would soon become the most terrifying sound a Luftwaffe pilot could hear. This is the story of the P-47 Thunderbolt, the fighter that no one believed in, until it became the one aircraft German pilots feared the most. The year is 1940. Europe is burning. The Luftwaffe dominates the skies with a brutal combination of speed, tactics, and experience. And the United States, still mostly watching from across the ocean, faces a terrifying question. Can America build a fighter capable of surviving the war ahead? At the Republic Aviation Factory, engineers designed something strange. An aircraft so massive that early test pilots call it a bulldozer with wings. It dwarfs every fighter before it. Why so big? Because inside the P-47's massive frame sits something revolutionary. A turbo-supercharged radial engine designed to fight at 30,000 feet. A place where German fighters struggle to breathe. But no one knows that yet. All they see is a flying tank that looks so absurd to survive a dogfight. The P-47's destiny is still unknown. April 1943. The P-47 enters combat for the first time, and it goes horribly. The radio systems fail, pilots can't talk to each other. The engine overheats, it can barely reach the altitude needed to intercept enemy aircraft. German aces watch these giant machines struggle in the sky and laugh. The jokes come fast, too fat to fight, too slow to climb. 7 tons of American steel falling with style. Worst of all, the P-47 cannot yet escort bombers deep into enemy territory. Its range is small, its fuel consumption high. By the time bombers cross into Germany, the Thunderbolts have to turn back. German pilots think the war in the air will stay in their favor. They have no idea what's coming next. Here's the secret every P-47 pilot learns. This aircraft is a monster when you use it correctly. It can dive faster than anything in the sky. It can take hits that would rip other fighters apart. It can climb once the turbo kicks in, and it carries something no German aircraft can match. 8 50 caliber Browning machine guns, 4,000 rounds of ammunition, a literal storm of lead. When the Thunderbolt fires, the air vibrates. Enemy fighters dissolve under the barrage. Pilots describe watching rounds chew through wings, engines, and cockpits in seconds. The aircraft that was once a joke is suddenly terrifying. Summer 1943. The can't kill it. It's too heavy, your guns barely scratch it. If it gets behind you, you're finished. The day German pilots stop laughing, the war in the air turns upside down. The skies above Europe begin to sound different, not like the sharp, high-pitched scream of light fighters, but a deep, thunderous roar, heavy, powerful, unmistakable. The P-47 is no longer the butt of jokes. It is an omen. German ground troops start giving it a new nickname. Der bulldozer! The bulldozer! Because when a squadron of Thunderbolts appears overhead, something below is about to be crushed! All across the front, tank crews report hearing a strange sound before their vehicles explode! A rumble, a grinding howl, a roar that grows louder and louder! Then, the world erupts around them! What makes the P-47 terrifying isn't just size, it's the firepower! 8 50 caliber Browning machine guns, 8 streams of burning metal, 8 barrels drawing lines of fire across the sky! When combined, they pour out 13 kilograms of lead per second! A wall of bullets thick enough to rip through steel, armor, wings, endings, anything that exists!
German pilots describe it in their diaries as a shimmering white curtain. Once it appears in front of your canopy, the fight is already over. Pilots tell stories of hitting a target at 800 meters, distances other fighters wouldn't even attempt. And when Thunderbolts dive, that curtain becomes a storm. One story becomes legendary. A Thunderbolt pilot flying deep over Europe is jumped by a German fighter. Then another, and another. His P-47 takes hits, dozens, then hundreds. Bullets tear through the wings, rip holes in the tail, smash into the fuselage. Oil leaks across the windshield. The canopy cracks. He keeps flying. By the time he breaks free and makes it back to base, his P-47 is merely holding a deadened mechanics count over 200 bullet and cannon holes. But the aircraft survived. And so did he. The message is clear. You can damage the Thunderbolt, you can hurt it, but killing it, that's something else entirely. By late 1943, German pilots begin reporting a terrifying pattern. Their attacks bounce off. Their cannons shatter but do not destroy. Their hits don't break the structure. The Thunderbolt is a fortress, a monster that refuses to die. A Luftwaffe ace writes in his diary, "We underestimated its machine. We made a terrible mistake." German pilots begin adjusting tactics, avoid head-on attacks, avoid diving after it, avoid fighting it alone. Some simply turn away when they see it, because the truth becomes undeniable. The P-47 isn't just a fighter, it's a sledgehammer with wings. The secret weapon of the Thunderbolt is altitude. Its turbo-supercharged engine is built for the thin, freezing air above dirty 1,000 feet. Up there, a Luftwaffe struggles. Engines choke. Turbos stall, aircraft lose power. But the P-47, it thrives! It climbs into the stratosphere with ease, dives like a meteor, and controls the engagement from above! Pilots begin calling it the king of the high altitudes. German fighters try to climb to meet it, but run out of breath. Engines sputter, wings shudder. Then the Thunderbolt dives, a streak of silver and fire. And nothing in the Luftwaffe can stop it. 1944 changes everything. The P-47 receives an upgrade that shocks the Luftwaffe into silence. The paddle blade propeller. It transforms the aircraft overnight. Better climb, better acceleration, better control, better dogfighting. The same pilots who once joked about the P-47 now face something they cannot outrun and cannot outfight. Combat reports describe Thunderbolts ripping through German formations at terrifying speed. Pilots say it felt like the throttle had no limit. It climbed like nothing else. The airplane became alive. The joke has officially ended. By 1944, morale among German pilots begins to crack. They report, the P-47 is impossible to shake. Our ammunition is not enough to bring it down. It dives faster than physics should allow. It is everywhere, and the worst part, there are thousands of them. Factories in the United States produce P-47s at a rate the Luftwaffe cannot comprehend. The skies begin to fill with silver wings. The Thunderbolt becomes not just a fighter, but a symbol of industrial might, an engine of war powered by a nation that can outbuild, outproduce, and outlast anything Germany can muster. Fear grows, and with fear comes defeat. If German pilots fear the P-47 in the sky, German soldiers fear it on the ground. The Thunderbolt shrieks bullets than the most deadly ground attack aircraft of the war. It destroys tanks, armored columns, supply convoys, rail networks, fuel depots, anything that moves and much that doesn't. Its 850s tear through transport trucks with ease. Its bombs shatter bridges. Its rockets destroy bunkers. Its strafing runs obliterate entire columns of vehicles. Soldiers develop a phrase, Jabo fever. The terror of hearing the distant thunder of engines because Thunderbolts attack low, fast, and without mercy. Thunderbolts destroy 86,000 railway cars, 9,000 locomotives, 68,000 trucks. Germany's war machine begins to starve. By 1945, the P-47 dominates the air war. Its range extends with drop tanks. Its firepower increases. Its pilots now enter combat with overwhelming confidence. German pilots no longer hunt Thunderbolts. They avoid them. Some report diving away the moment they see a P-47's massive silhouette. Others break formation entirely and flee. The Luftwaffe is running out of fuel, aircraft, and experienced pilots. The Thunderbolt is growing stronger, more numerous, more aggressive. The balance of power shifts, then it tilts, then it collapses entirely.
By the end of the war, the P-47 has achieved what few believed possible. It destroyed more enemy aircraft than almost any other Allied fighter. It crushed the German war machine on the ground. It survived hits that should have been fatal. It evolved into an unstoppable aerial weapon. And perhaps most astonishing, it transformed from a worldwide joke into a worldwide legend. As one German pilot said after the war, "We feared many things in the sky, but the Thunderbolt was in a category of its own." The P-47 Thunderbolt proved that strength, firepower, altitude, and survivability could rewrite the rules of aerial combat and turn laughter into terror in less than 2 years. Its legacy is not elegance, not grace, not beauty. Its legacy is dominance. By early 1945, Europe's sky no longer belongs to the Luftwaffe. It belongs to silver wings, wings that shine through clouds, wings that thunder as they pass overhead, wings that the German soldiers call the Silver Storm. P-47 squadrons sweep across the front lines like tides of steel. Columns of Thunderbolts stretch from horizon to horizon, each one carrying the firepower of a small battleship.
The sound becomes unmistakable, a deep, rolling roar, a sound that shakes windows and rattles bones, a sound German troops hear in their sleep, and when they look up, they see the monster. In the final months of the war, something unexpected happens. Reports begin flooding in from across the front. German pilots refuse to engage. Thunderbolts! Some turn back the moment they identify that unmistakable silhouette. Others climb into clouds and vanish, preferring to retreat rather than fight. A few attack half-heartedly, fire a few rounds, and break off, knowing the Thunderbolt can absorb more punishment than anything they have ever faced. A Luftwaffe squadron commander writes, "If you see the big one, leave. Nothing good comes from fighting it." The monster is no longer mocked. It is respected, feared, avoided. Because the truth has become impossible to deny. The Thunderbolt has broken the enemy's will. As the Allies push deeper into Europe, the Thunderbolt evolves once again. New ammunition belts, new bombs, new rockets, new tactics. P-47 groups learn to operate as mobile destruction fleets, striking railways in the morning, armor columns in the afternoon, communications hubs at dusk. Their pilots develop a terrifying reputation. They don't stop. They don't miss. They don't die. On the ground, German soldiers report the same thing again and again. You shoot at it. It keeps coming. You hide under trees, it finds you. You run, it follows. The Thunderbolt becomes more than a fighter. It becomes a symbol. One that signals the end of Germany's mobility, fuel, and hope. The Luftwaffe begins to fracture. Fuel shortages growl entire squadrons. Pilots with only a few hours of training are sent into missions they cannot survive. Aircraft sit idle on runways, unable to even take off. Meanwhile, P-47s fly 3, 4, sometimes 5 missions a day. They strafe trains, bomb factories, attack convoys, cut supply lines, destroy bridges, shatter depots. A German general writes, "It felt like they were everywhere all at once. If one escaped us, another appeared." Every day, the Thunderbolt tightens the noose. Every day, Germany loses another piece of its war machine. The end is near, and everyone knows it. Spring 1945. What remains of the German Air Force collapses completely. The skies that once echoed with duels and dogfights are now dominated by Thunderbolts making unopposed passes over retreating columns. P-47 squadrons fought with almost unimaginable freedom. No enemy fighters. No coordinated flak! No resistance able to break their rhythm! In their final weeks of combat, Thunderbolts and everything still standing! Rail hooks, bridges, honored remnants, trucks fleeing west, artillery batteries,
airfields filled with abandoned fighters. The Luftwaffe, once a terrifying force, now watches from the ground as thunder rolls overhead. Its era is over. Behind every P-47 story lies a pilot whose skill, courage, and endurance push the aircraft to its limits. Many were barely in their 20s. Some flew until their hands bled from gripping the controls. Others returned home in machines torn apart by combat. Engines smoking, things shredded, fuel leaking, things afraid!